Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. The goal of life is to achieve that uninterrupted happiness. This is the ultimate goal. You may pursue that directly, or you may pursue that indirectly. Those who pursue that infinite joy directly were called spiritual. Those who are pursuing that same infinite joy through the world were called materialist. That's a difference. Materialist as well as a spiritualist. Both are pursuing that same infinite joy. There is no difference. Both are asking for the same thing. Both are demanding the same thing. But however, the spiritual person pursues, achieves. The materialistic person pursues, but meets only agitation. Every achievement appears to be giving him something, but sooner he can grasp it, it slips through his fingers. Before he could even recognize what is that joy, what is that happiness. And that is what Krishna cautions in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, the true happiness starts bitter, ends nectarine. The false happiness starts nectarine, ends poisonous. That is how the design of the universe is. The world is designed like that. Why that design, I have no idea. I don't know. But the design is this. All that is beneficial starts bitter, ends nectarine. All that is malicious, destructive, starts nectarine, ends poisonous. Now, if life were to be designed in a way where beneficial thing, the true happiness were to start nectarine, and the false happiness were to start poisonous, none of us would need education. We don't require the scriptures, we don't require masters, we don't need any instructions in life. Every one of us will know what to do. But unfortunately, the design is exactly opposite. The beneficial starts poisonous. Like example give is exercising. To start the fitness regimentation, the first day you go to gym, there is no problem. But the second day, the whole body refuses to move out of bed. So much of pain in the body. You cannot stand, you cannot sit, you cannot turn, you cannot do anything. Whole day pain. So to avoid that pain, what do we do, sir? Don't exercise. And we keep postponing the exercise. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start from Monday onwards. There are people who say, I'll start from Monday onwards. And always it is very interesting, the psychology of procrastination. Always when you postpone, you don't postpone far away. You always postpone to the immediate next. If it is year, you will say next year. You'll never say, after 10 years, I'm going to do it. No. You'll say, next year, I will start. If it is a month, you will say, next month onwards, I will do. If it is a week one, they'll say, from next week onwards. That is what, if you tell people, why don't you attend this Vedanta class? which is happening online. Sitting at your own home, you can listen. You don't have to even travel. You see, why don't you say next week onwards I am there, man. This week only I am busy. Next week is there, no? Yes, yes. I missed a lot of classes in between. Is it okay if I start halfway through? You'll say no problem. You can start anytime because anyway you will not understand a word, right? Because the speaker himself doesn't understand what he's speaking. Okay, only then only you can understand. No, so there is no problem. So people ask me, that if I start halfway through, anyway you start, man. Right? No, what do I do? How do I catch up with the last things? He'll say, no, don't worry. All this available on YouTube. It's all there. We'll give you the link. You can. It's all that. Give me 1 week. I'll cover all that is missed in 1 week. From next week onwards, I'm there for the class. Even before you, I would have logged in. You see, it will never happen. That's the psychology of postponement. We always, postpone to what, sir? Not indefinitely, not to the indefinite future. You postpone the things to that immediate future. It can be weekly, it can be daily, it can be just 1 day. Tomorrow I will do it. From tomorrow you see me. I am a different person. From next week you see me. From next month you see me. From next year you see me. Next decade you see me. From next Janma you see me. Ishwaran, I missed this Janma. I wanted to start early. I got to know about Vedanta only when I am 60. What is the point? Useless. Therefore what? Next. It keeps on happening, keeps moving. So what you need to get here is this postponement of the pursuit should never happen. This idea of realization, this idea of happiness, idea of evolution, all this needs effort, and that requires a particular understanding. That understanding, when we say the problem is, Ishwaran, we all want to pursue. We are all very sincere. But the problem is, world is really tempting. That's the job of the world. World's job is to tempt you with instant pleasures. Why do you fall for this? Because the joy to derive from spiritual evolution takes time. Whereas the joy that you can derive from the external world is instant. You instantly get it. The moment you reach there, you get it, you experience. Since there is instant pleasure available from the world, we start moving towards it. To resist the temptation of that instant pleasure and to move towards something higher is where the real spiritual effort comes into picture. The material world is always like that. That is what Ramatirtha says. Iron and gold are good for buying iron and gold. That's all. With iron and gold, what you can do? You can buy iron and gold. That's all you can do. You can exchange. Wealth can be exchanged with the sense objects. And you contact the sense objects, you get some pleasure, instant pleasure. Therefore, we all pursue that instant pleasure that is available from the world. So that's the way the life keeps on moving. Now, to resist that temptation and pursue, why we are not able to do this is because of fundamental ignorance of our real nature. That's what Vedanta says. There is but one disease and one cure. The disease is ignorance. That antidote for ignorance is knowledge. That's all required in life. The problem for us is we don't understand that ignorance. We don't understand that self-ignorance. And when we say self-ignorance, we all, go through this idea of what is this self, belief, ignorance, and all that. See the word here. Problem of ignorance. What is the fundamental problem of ignorance, sir? Where is the hideout of ignorance? Where is it that you don't know? What is that? When you say ignorance means this. Ignorance is I don't know. Okay. Where is that ignorance is in you? What is the hideout of your ignorance? Where is this ignorance sitting? You are ignorant. Okay. Now you sit and say, okay, let me see where is that self-ignorance is. You will immediately say, yeah, it is self-ignorance has to be there. Ignorance of yourself should be with you only, no? Ignorance of yourself cannot be with me. Ignorance of myself will be with me. Ignorance of yourself has to be with you only. So, the self-ignorance has to be within you only. Correct? Yeah, correct. Very, very logical, Ishwara. Now, if you want to attack your enemy, first requirement is what? You need to locate where is he hiding, no? Right. What is the hideout of your ignorance? Where is he hiding? Start searching. Where is that ignorance in you? Try to locate. Try to identify. Where is ignorance? Where is ignorance? Where is ignorance? You will never be able to locate it. Try to see. You sit back and find out, where is my ignorance? Where is my ignorance? Where is my ignorance? Nowhere to be found. It is like trying to locate darkness with light. See, a thief is one who has an expert is in hideout. He hides in a place where it's impossible for you to even suspect. That's where ignorance is. You see, self-ignorance is hiding. Where, sir? In the belief that I know. Wherever you say I know, that is where your ignorance is hiding. And it's impossible for you to believe. It's like, is it ever possible that darkness is hiding under light? And that's what, in the scriptures, they give a beautiful example. It is exactly like right under the candle, which is lighting the entire room, you will find a circle of darkness. You see that? It's so interesting to observe. Just right under the candle, But that fellow is lighting the entire room. But he is never been able to identify that darkness. That is how your ignorance is hiding. Where, sir? I know. Okay. So whenever you say ignorance, where is your ignorance, sir? I know. Whenever you say I know, wherever you say I know, that is where your ignorance is. Now you are located. Is that all? No, 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 no. Little more you got to see. What happens after that? Right. I'm only explaining what is the effect of that ignorance. Okay. What is that ignorance and all we will see next. Okay. First, try to understand what is the problem with ignorance. What is wrong with ignorance? We say, okay, I'm self-ignorant. So what? There are so many things that I don't know in life. Right. I don't know computer language. I don't know this. I don't know, physics. I don't know chemistry. I don't know, engineering. I don't know this. I don't know that. So many things I don't know. One of the things along with that is what? I don't know myself also. The self-knowledge also I don't have. So what? Oh, it doesn't leave there, please. All ignorances have a similar pattern. Any ignorance has a pattern. What is a pattern, sir? Where do they go and hide? The hideout of ignorance is, I know. Right. We'll see that more in detail when we go to this chapter, light of with wisdom. Right now, just understand this much. Ignorance means I know. The moment you say I know, that I know will not keep quiet. I know doesn't stand as I know. Like ignorance doesn't say stand as ignorance. It takes the form of I know. It takes the form of knowledge. Then the moment you have knowledge, it will not keep quiet. It will take the next form. The further development of that is I know becomes I am correct. Isn't it? It is ignorance. It is ignorant who will be wrong. How is it possible for a knowledgeable person to be wrong? Knowledgeable person will be correct only, no, always. And I am knowledgeable, therefore, I am correct. You will never find a fault in this reasoning. Remember that. Next step onwards. After I know, everything is perfect. Reasoning is pakka in that. Remember. If I know, since I know that I am correct, because I know, therefore I have to be correct. Okay, no, you be correct. So what? It will not keep quiet there. If I am correct, if I am right, what are you? You people are sitting in front of me, no? Opposite. Right? If I am correct, what are you then? Opposite. Opposite of right is what? Wrong. If I am correct, you are wrong. Right? That's very simple. Logically correct, no? Opposite of right is wrong. If I am correct, you are wrong. Now comes the catch. Now the mind switches off to something. It says, since I know and I am correct and you are wrong, if something needs to be decided where who is important, you or me, obviously it will be who then? I am more important. Therefore, what, sir? I am indispensable. You are all dispensable. But I am indispensable. That is how every step happens, in fact. That's why every organization, this problem happens. And when the vice president fixes a target for the salesman says what? He genuinely feels internally what? What does the say? Vice president knows about the market realities. I am going to the market daily basis. I know better than him. And that fellow simply goes up and down in the car. He just goes and sits in some 5-star hotel, has a conference. He comes and gives instructions to me. I know better. So, in the company, who is more important? That's what labor thinks. That's exactly what management thinks. That's exactly what every mother feels. She is indispensable. You know, the child has to study means I have to be there. If I am not there, the child will not study. Every man thinks I am indispensable. Why? I am correct. And what is interesting is your mind demands this indispensability for it to perform its obligatory duties. That's where the problem is. Unless you are given that idea that you are indispensable, you are very important, you are more important than others. The husband has to be given this belief that he is more important than wife for him to perform the obligations and duties as husband. Same is wife's case also. Wife has to be told constantly what? You are the backbone of the family. Therefore, what? You are indispensable. Without you, nothing will happen in the house. Therefore, after given that belief, only she can perform. Imagine, even without you, nothing will change. Everything will happen so smoothly. How inspired you will be, how motivated will you be to continue to do your obligations? Imagine your wife were to tell you. Imagine the companies were to be told to the CEO. The board of directors were to tell the CEO that even without you, nothing will happen to the organization. How motivated will be that CEO to work in that office? He says what? Then why should I work? Next question what the mind will ask is, if I am not required, then I leave. Isn't it? Everyone's mind is demanding that indispensability. And how do you get that belief of that indispensability, sir? That comes only when you believe you are right. For you to get that belief that you are correct, you have to say what? I know. And whatever you say, I know is what? Ignorance. That's where the problem is, he says. This life we live is full of ignorance. And we don't even understand. And this genuine belief at every stage that we have, that I know, I know, I know. In any field for that matter, you have this belief in the field of your office domain, same systems will happen. If it happens in your domestic, same thing. And you go back and see, everywhere there is a fight. What is a fight all about? In any family, anywhere we have. What is the fight all about, sir? Who is important? Are you important or am I important? Every one of us believes genuinely what? I am so important. You see, I am the nucleus. I am the most important dimension of the organization. Says the management, says the laborers, says the citizen, says the government, says this, says that. Everywhere you go, everyone wants to have that indispensability. And the problem with that indispensability is what? Law of life, the nature, the world says, stern reply from the world is, no one is indispensable. No one is indispensable. If world can move, if India can move without Mahatma Gandhi, what is the problem? Without Socrates, what had happened? Without Napoleon, what had happened? Without him, what had happened? Without him, no difference. Without all those people, world is moving normal, but still you can't accept. In my world, I want to be kept as the most indispensable person. You see, we don't care of the whole. When I say whole world, all of us will agree. Yeah, yeah, the whole world, everything is like that. Imagine your child were to come and tell you, "We will never miss you. I will never miss you." What happens? You expect the other person to be missing you. You want others to feel the loss of you. For that only you keep doing your obligations. Imagine you fulfill all your obligations also. Other party says, okay, if I am not there, what will happen? I say, nothing will happen. Next day, will you be interested to prepare that coffee and give them? Next day morning, the wife will say what? I tried with my wife. I tried only for coffee. Because I know what will happen for other things. You know. He said, anyway, you only told no yesterday. You can prepare coffee. Prepare and bring it for me also, she said. I said, yeah, the law is working. I said, does it matter? Principle will work in everybody's life. What does it say? Mind will demand that indispensability. This is the problem of ignorance. You see, and that ignorance, that self-ignorance, that ignorance of true nature, the true location of the happiness that you are craving for, you are seeking in life, is within you. The problem is you don't know where is it. You don't know how to extract it. You don't know how to hold it. We don't know that. That is what is known as ignorance. Now, Vedanta says that ignorance has 3 levels of manifestation. Ignorance has 3 layers of manifestation. Now, what we saw earlier is the consequence of ignorance. When you have ignorance, what happens to you? It leads to destruction. It leads to friction. It leads to so many problems of life. How? This is how it happens, we saw. Now, what we are seeing is how this ignorance is manifesting in you and how Vedanta is going to provide a solution for that. That's what he is giving here. Beautiful analysis. Now, he says, ignorance works in 3 layers. It is like automatic door. Remember, after the first door opened only, the second door can be opened. After the second door only, the third door will get opened to you. Right? Straight away, you can't go to the third door. That is not possible. It's like 3 floors. You have to go to the first floor, then go to the second floor, and then go to the third floor. Whether you are taking the staircase or you are taking a lift. Straight away, you can't say from the ground floor, I should disappear here and appear there. You are not a jumper. You see, there is a movie called Jumper. The fellow will think, now from here to there I have to go. He will disappear here and appear there. Wherever he wants, he can go like that. You can't do all that, please. Right? You have to move. You can go faster with the lift, or you can take a staircase. Slowly you can climb. Nevertheless, after you cross the first floor only, you can go to the second floor. After the second floor only, third floor. Similarly, these 3 layers of ignorance gets exposed to you in that same layer only. After you have covered the first layer, countered the first layer only, the second layer gets exposed to you. The second layer of ignorance will not be known to you. That is where you apply the previous point. Okay. This is how you got to study. I don't know whether I am making myself clear to you all. Whatever it is, understand or you don't understand, it doesn't matter. I'll just say that. So the first layer is lack of information is the first layer of ignorance, which is what a layman would say, I don't know. In fact, a layman never says that. Only an intelligent man says that. You see, a layman says what? I know. Okay. But generally I say, first layer of ignorance is I don't know. When you say I don't know, what you mean is I don't have that information. That's the first layer. Then comes the second layer of ignorance. That is, I have that information, but I don't have an understanding of it. I have not understood that. I know that, but I have not understood. I know there is a thing called relativity, but I don't know. I don't have an understanding of it. What is relativity, sir? And immediately, if you are a good science student, immediately that fellow will ask, you are talking about which relativity? General theory of relativity or particular theory of relativity? Which one you are talking about? You have that information. There is a thing called relativity, but you don't understand what is it. You see, lack of understanding. I don't even know there is a thing called Taj Mahal. He doesn't even know there is a thing called Taj Mahal existing in the world. That is lack of information. Then somebody tells him about Taj Mahal. Hey, Taj Mahal is a beautiful place to visit. All full white marbles, Of course, it's a tomb, but architecture wonder that is to see that. Oh, he knows, but he doesn't understand how beautiful it is, what is the distance of it, how big it is, what is the diameter, all the things he doesn't have. He doesn't understand all that. Then he says what? I don't understand. Lack of understanding. First, you don't even know. After that, you start asking questions. That is called lack of understanding. Second layer of ignorance gets exposed. Then that needs to be countered. That needs to be resolved. That needs to be attended to. After attending to that one, that ignorance phase gets erased. Then you say, I have understood. That is, once you say I have understood, then this phase of ignorance is gone. Then comes the third phase. After saying I have understood only, the third phase gets exposed to you. That is lack of experience. I have understood, but I have not tasted it. You see, I have understood what it is to go to Niagara Falls. It's there. And there is a mid of the mist. They take you. The cruise takes the ship, goes there, and you stand. You see that. And whoever you are, your heartbeat will increase. Doesn't matter what you are. You stand there. The feel is so different. And simultaneously, you will see 2-3 rainbows. First time I saw 2-3 rainbows, simultaneously coming. Fascinating to see that experience. You go there. He says what? I have read about it. I have understood. I have visualized. I am convinced it's a fascinating experience. All that I know, all that I have understood. The problem is what? Have you tasted it? No. That's the third phase of ignorance called lack of experience. So, the ignorance of yourself, Vedanta says, has these three layers. The ignorance of the true happiness, the location of the true happiness, the process of extracting the true happiness, the methodology to retain the true happiness is not known to you. How does that ignorance exist, sir? That ignorance exists in you in three layers. First layer, lack of understanding. Lack of information. Second layer, lack of understanding. Third layer, lack of experience. Now, since the ignorance is expressing in you, standing in you in three layers, Vedanta says the solution also has to be given in three layers. You can't give one solution for all layers. That is not possible. It won't work. You see? So, Vedanta says if you have to counter the lack of information, how do you combat that, sir? Knowledge also comes with three layers. The first layer is known as Shravanam, meaning listening. You listen. Listening or reading. In the very orthodox sense, we call it as Shravanam. Now, Shravanam means listening. Listening to a master. Listening to a master of a particular qualifications and all those things. He has to be of that particular qualifications are needed for that teacher, and the student also needs to have a corresponding qualification. Today, all of us are so interested to know who is the right guru. Right? I've never seen anyone asking the question, who is the right student? Right? Am I a right student? Nobody asks. Hassan always asks the question is he a good guru or he is a bad guru? He is the right guru or he is a wrong guru? What sort of a guru he is? We all are interested in doing the study about the guru only. Assumption is what? For all of us, I am a very, very competent student. I am a perfect student. If you want to pick up one good student from Bangalore, each one of you will say what? I will be the number one student for him. I am the best student. You never question about yourself. You see? But understood here is what? Whatever the qualification is. I'm not going into the qualifications of a guru and the qualifications of a Shishya and all that, please. The understood is this. If you want to combat this layer of ignorance, of lack of information, what you have to do is you have to listen. Shravanam. / reading also you can put. So either listening or reading. One of this you have to do. Between the two, my personal preference is to listen to a master live. Ideal is that. Live, not online. Okay. Live in the sense physically to be under the feet of the master and study. That is what is known as listening. Not this, Zoom class. Or, YouTube. There are a lot of people ask, is it available in YouTube? They say. And the best thing, one fellow was telling me, where I asked him, when do you listen, man? Where is the time for you? No. I'll just put it on YouTube and do all my household work. It's like, music for him, to do. I said, okay, anyway, it doesn't matter, listen. It's okay. Listening in the sense of that. Okay. So when you listen to a master, what happens? You get that information. Remember, No master can give you understanding. Any amount of listening, any amount of repeated listening again and again and again will help you to combat the first layer of ignorance, which is a superficial layer of ignorance. A lot of people, they just scratch that surface a little with some information, assume that they have overcome the total ignorance itself. You see, blunder they make. They listen something here, they read some books here, they listen there and read there, read all sorts of things, listen to all sorts of like lectures, and now in YouTube, even as on today, with all the material that's available on YouTube, you need minimum 10 Janmas for you to cover all the lectures. You see, minimum, I say. That much of material, I'm talking about only Vedanta, not in other field. In Vedanta itself, you have so much material there. How much you can listen to. But please understand, any amount of listening you do will help you to overcome only the problem of what? Lack of information. You will carry a lot of information with you. More listening will help you to overcome the first layer of ignorance. Nothing wrong in that, please. But you got to start with it. What Vedanta says is don't stop there. That's all. You have to start from there. Don't think you have to, that itself is the final. No. First layer needs to be combated effectively with a proper listening. Listening from the student point of view, a particular attitude while listening. What is attitude? We have seen that already. Attitude for the student while approaching the master is what, sir? Faith. Fundamental trust has to be there on the text from the teacher, from the master. That's a basic faith is needed. Then qualification for the teacher is different. They say Sotriya, Brahmanishta and all that. He has to be skillful in communication, plus he must have completed this journey. Means he must have had the experience of what is he talking about. So both are needed for the teacher. The student needs one qualification for listening. That is to have Shraddha, faith. Then for the teacher, if you go for listening, he needs two qualifications. He must have good communication skill. Plus, he must be a Brahmanishta also. So, Shrotriya and Brahmanishta. This is first layer. After listening for a long period of time, suddenly you come to a confusion after listening. This will come only after listening. Suddenly you say, I'm not able to understand, because there are a lot of gaps. There are a lot of, contradictions I see from what that person says and what this person says and what is said then and what is said here, what that text says, what this text says, what Krishna says and what Rama says, what Buddha says. Now, that is why we say Krishna is a Jagat Guru. Bhagavad Gita we study. Why that? Because of, you don't need to go for another person. Krishna contradicts himself. Bhagavad Gita, full of contradiction. So much of contradiction you find in the teaching there. You say, hey, say one thing, no. That's what Arjuna also asks. Tadekam vada nishchitya. Hey, say one thing conclusively, man. Should I fight or not? Simple question. All that Arjuna asks Krishna is innocuous, normal question. Should I fight or not? One word answer Krishna can give. But the fellow spoke for 15 chapters after that. Because this question he asked in the beginning of the 3rd chapter. After that, 15 chapters. In fact, actual Gita starts only after that. From 3rd chapter only actual Gita starts. So much of contradiction you find in Krishna. In any master, you go, you find gaps, contradictions, and what they speak, what they say, what you have read, what you have heard is totally different from what you experience in life. There is a gap. So there is a contradiction in the teaching itself, and there is a gap between what you are experiencing in life and what they are teaching. So much of difference. What you believe, what they say, there is a gap. Now the question is, who is correct? Right? You can't say both are correct. It cannot be. You can't say 2 plus 2. One fellow says 7. One fellow says 3. One fellow says 4. All 3 are correct. This is like sitting and talking in our news, channels, studio. They talk, debates. Yeah. He's also correct, he's also correct, he's also correct. Everybody is correct. Please remember, cannot be. There is only one answer. What is it? 2 plus 2 equals 4. That's all. Now the question is, 3 different answers are there. How will you come to conclusion which is correct? What is the right thing to be done? Where is it? Because my experience is that joy is in that Belgian chocolate. Right in front of me. I'm eating that. Right now I'm experiencing that joy. In fact, some of you may be having the chocolate and listening to the class also. Having ice cream and listening, there. As you are eating, you are enjoying. And what are you listening? There is no happiness in Belgian chocolate. Now, either you can't take both, no? How can both be correct? Now, you can't say for Ishwaran it is not there, for me it is there. For you yourself, at one point of time it is there, another point of time it is not there. Then, which is appropriate? Before you are conceived in the womb, did you exist? Your existence, your birth, your existence, you came into existence only at the time of birth? Coming out of the womb? No. You existed before that? No. You say, correct. Then when? First month? First month of conception, where were you? Before conception, where were you? You didn't exist, no? After death, where are you? You don't exist. Between two non-existence, how can existence happen? Is it possible? This side non-existence, that side non-existence. But in between, there is a positively you affirm, I do exist. You genuinely believe, no? You do exist. What happens then? How is it possible? A skin deep question, a little scratching of your knowledge will expose all that information that you carry is useless. That's what happens. People boast of their knowledge because they have memorized so many things from the scriptures. You see, that is Shravanam, by listening. Listen, you listen 10 times, listen to something 10 times. Like, I got this entire Vishnu Sahasranama memorized, not by going to any class, nothing. In our house, they used to play this Vishnu Sahasranama every day morning. Every day morning, MS Subbulakshmi's Vishnu Sahasranama played. How did you get, sir? You keep on listening to it. Listen. Over a period of time, you remember the whole thing. And then anytime people ask you to chant Vishnu Sahasranama, you chant. Taka, 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 you chant. Since you are able to chant, people think you know everything. A little question, little probing, one question being asked destroys everything. All that belief that you carry, all that knowledge that you carry, whistles down. Why is it, sir? Because you have not combated the second layer of ignorance called I don't understand. Remember, the second layer of ignorance will not get exposed so easily. The first layer of ignorance will expose itself very easily. The world will force itself and expose it to you. The first layer. So far, the nature comes and helps us to expose us. But the second layer of ignorance to get exposed, you have to work on your own. That's where the previous analysis comes into picture. Ignorance, development. I know. I've understood. I don't understand. Now, how do you combat that lack of understanding? Vedanta says the lack of understanding of concepts cannot be combated with more listening. You can't say, okay, I will listen more. If I listen more, can my understanding get better? No. By listening more, it will get into your memory system better. That's about it. Which is what we call as intelligence. You will become more intelligent. You'll become more knowledgeable. You become more informative. By listening more and more and more, you can effectively combat only the first layer. That's about it. If you want to understand, you have to go to the second step, which is called mananam, which is called as reflection. Reflecting, meaning your ability to think independently, your conscious effort to think, reason. Now the whole rule is different. In the first layer, when you are combating the first layer of ignorance, the qualification required for the student is Shraddha, faith, trust, belief. Now you come to the second layer of ignorance. The necessary qualification required here is you must have a critical attitude. Now there is no trust. He must be correct. No. Now what is it, sir? We probe, you question, you reason, you analyze. This is the second layer. Second layer demands a different quality from you. The first layer demands a quality of Shraddha, faith. Second layer demands a quality of question. You have to question. How is it? What is it? Reflection means, mananam means rolling over the same idea again and again in your mind or in your buddhi, in your intellect. Rolling over that thing again and again in you intellectually, to repeat it. This is not memorization, please. This is your ability to think and probe, question, investigate, reason on that same idea from different angles. What is this? How is this? Who is this? Which is purely can be done only by you. No one can help you in that. You can get an assistance, you can get a help from the first stage. For Shravanam, what is your effort, sir? What are you supposed to do? In the class, when the teacher is taking a class, what are you supposed to do in the class? Don't do anything. Keep quiet. Don't think. Don't like, just follow what I'm saying. Just listen to what I'm saying. That's it. Nothing else. But the moment you go to reflection part, what is it, sir? You cannot be passive. You have to take an active role. In Shravanam, the student has to be passive, receptive. Right? In Mananam, the student has to become active, probing. There are two different things. The feminine quality. Shravanam demands a feminine quality in you. Reflection demands a masculine quality in you. I'm not talking about man and woman, please. To be accepting, to be receiving mood, you need a particular frame of mind. That is passive frame of mind, where you are open. Allow that to sink in. Allow that information to come in. This is the first stage. That is where this Shraddha, faith, helps you to receive it. When it comes to reflection, you don't go by that. Now what is it, sir? You take the role reverses now. Now what is it, sir? Now you have to play the active role. Now you have to play the probing one. Investigate. Reason. Reason with what is that you have heard. Whatever you have heard. Question it. On what basis? What is the thing? Without taking anything for granted. That's the thumb rule he gives. Thumb rule for reflection. Two things he says. Number one, don't take anything for granted. Number two, question everything. Our problem is what, sir? We take everything for granted. Correct? No. It has to be correct. It has to be good. It has to be correct. No. Question, man. Then what will happen, sir? Then lack of understanding will disappear. The lack of, understanding, disappearance is where you get that conviction. That is where you are totally convinced that happiness rests inside you. It is not in the world. You are totally convinced. Otherwise, you to go on repeating, happiness is not there in the world. Happiness is not there in the world. It is like Otto Fellow says, what money, sir? All that he will talk. When he drops you, you tell him thank you for lift and you go out. Then you will know. You see, all that we also talk. What is there? Like, one fellow was telling, what is in this place? Like, Janaka, the fellow was telling me, what is there? Nothing is mine, the world. He had a good business. I told him, oh, it's not yours, is it? Okay, then transfer the whole thing in my account. I said, Adalla, sir, just joking. I said, I'm not joking, I'm being serious. That's the last time I met that guy. After that, he dropped Vedanta. Till then he was speaking. Like Janaka, he was speaking. Like what is there in the world? All Maya, all illusion, all that. Till what, sir? Till he has a problem. See, that's where we say lack of understanding. How do you know there is understanding, sir? The understanding is there means there will be conviction. You see, there is conviction in life. He is convinced about the goal of life, the mission of life, the purpose of life. Not mechanical repetition, please. It's an understanding. After that, only the third layer of ignorance will get exposed to him suddenly one day. What is it? I'm talking about bliss, bliss, and all that. But what is that bliss, man? I've never tasted it. I'm not able to experience that. There, what I have to do, that is where Vedanta comes and says, now any amount of reflection you do will not give you that. Like any amount of listening will not help you to overcome the lack of understanding. Same way, any amount of reflection will not help you to overcome the lack of experience. So to overcome the lack of experience, you need to go through a third methodology, third discipline, that is called Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana is commonly what is known today as meditation. The problem is, the whole world, there is a craze about meditation. You see, straight away people want to go to meditation. Start from, because their argument is what? Anyway, finally, what you have to do? Meditate. No. See, final means it has to be final. You don't start with finals, isn't it? Yeah. When you go for medical college, final year comes when? Finally. That doesn't come in the beginning. The first year itself, the final year cannot be done. No. You know, but we will say, final thing is, what is it, sir? You have to hit that thing only. Therefore, what to do? You say. Now, you cannot start from there, please. But there is a craze all over the world for meditation. You say, that will not help you to experience that. That will help you one way. What is it? You'll get a good sleep. Meditation will help you to get a good sleep. No doubt about it. You see. But to overcome your insomnia, you can go for meditation. In fact, better than meditation is Vedanta class. You see, meditation also after 15 minutes goes. I tell them, Vedanta class, 5 minutes you listen to, knocked off. That's what the one man had, this Vedanta Treatise book near his bed. Swamiji was so happy. See, this fellow is happy keeping the book near his bed, He said, yeah, Swamiji, it helps me a lot. Why? I opened the book. Before I read one page off, it will help you to overcome those things. But please understand, that is not the purpose of meditation. Meditation is designed to help you to overcome the third layer of ignorance called lack of experience. I have not tasted the bliss. How do you taste that is what education is all about. The spiritual education, he says, from the second, next chapter, the Code of Living, he starts from there. The scope of spiritual education is completely lost because either people start with listening, whole life only listen, or they don't bother to do any listening, any reflection, straight away sit for meditation. You see, no, it won't work. Both are mistakes. You can't go to meditation straight, nor can you just stay put at listening, or reading. There are people who go on reading book after book after book after book, they cover. And then you have people, of course, the one who is reading a lot will have a lot of information. No doubt about it. That way, nothing. But will they evolve? Will they be able to get there? Not possible. You have to go through the 3 steps. And all 3 steps has to be done. And all 3 steps has to be done in that same sequence only. You can't interchange. You can't say, first I will do reflection, then I will go there, then I will come here, then I will do this. Won't work, please. You have to start with listening or reading, then come to reflection. You have to do for a length of period, study, length of period, reflection, and then you have to go for meditation for a period of time. Only then you can overcome this ignorance, without which you can never succeed in the spiritual path. Okay, sir, now where to begin? He says, start from the first step. What is the first step? I have to listen. Now, if I have to listen, I need a particular frame of mind. I need a particular qualification to pursue this knowledge. He starts from there. Next, elements of right living. He says, before you go into all those aspects, first streamline your life. Without streamlining your life, there is no way that you can get into spirituality. Now, because we all think spirituality you get into means there must be something wrong in your life. See, there must have been some, tragedy must have happened in your life, or you must be a failure in life. That's not the right understanding of spiritual path. Spirituality starts with streamlining your life first. Streamlining your existence. Clear off the ground first. Then start. It's exactly like that. How they plant the things. First they plow the field, make the soil loosen, and then sow the seeds. Only then they take care of other things. Fertilization and this, that, all that comes later. Watering and this, all those things. And then they have to go for cutting. After it is grown, then extract. All that process comes later. First step is what, sir? Plow the field. That's what he gives here in the introduction. See you next class.